Every week on Bullseye, we like to leave you with a culture tip from the host. It's called the Outshot. It's a frustrating thing to see a movie so good, so fully realized, and to find that the director only made one in their lifetime. Wanda, written and directed by the late Barbara Loden, is such a film. Wanda tells the story of a simple Pennsylvania woman who drifts through life. She's not good at much, so she's just stopped trying. We meet her when she bums some bus fare from a friend to get to court. Her husband's asked for a divorce, and Wanda, well, she can't really argue with his assessment that she's a bad wife and mother.
Mrs. Goronsky, your husband told me you deserted him and the children. What do you have to say?
Nothing.
Did you desert them?
Listen, Judge, if he wants a divorce, just give it to him.
Now, Mrs. Goronsky, you have 2 young children here.
They'd be better off with him.
What?
They'd be better off with him.
You have no objections to this divorce?
No, I don't have any objection to it.
After court, the newly divorced Wanda doesn't shout yippee and embrace her newfound freedom. No, instead, she roams around town, killing time, until she pops into a bar to use the bathroom. There, she spills her guts to the man behind the bar and goes home with him. Only, Wanda's so naive that she doesn't even know he was robbing the place, or that she's become an accomplice to the crime. Here's Loden as Wanda. She's reading the next day's paper to the thief, Mr. Dennis, realizing what's actually happened.
Although the robber came in alone, he left, according to Mr. Maluki, with a female whom he wasn't able to see because he was lying behind the bar.
Loden wrote the film from personal experience, believing that if she hadn't left rural North Carolina to make it in movies and the theater, that she would have ended up like Wanda, divorced with 2 kids, drunk when she could afford it. But that wasn't Loden's life. She began her career acting alongside the likes of Ben Gazzara and Robert Redford on the stage. But she became well known for her 1961 role in Elia Kazan's Splendor in the Grass. She played the sister to Warren Beatty's character.
Jenny, I know who that guy is. Jenny? That guy's a bootlegger.
Is he? Here, do me out.
He's married. You know he's a married man?
How do you know so much about him, sweetie pie?
You're not going out with him.
Is that so? I'd like to see you try
This
and
is
stop
Christmas
me.
Day. You're going to stay
Don't try
right
to
home
be a
here and you're going to be
Sir Galahad with
decent
me,
to your
buddy.
mother,
Get
Jenny.
out of my way.
You're not leaving
Get
here.
out of my way.
And after a few collaborations with Kazan, she married him, sometime between 1966 and 68, depending on the source. It was Kazan who would encourage Loden not just to write and star in her own film, but to direct it as well. In Wanda, Loden delivers such a brilliant performance as the title character, even though the script has no high points of action. It's just a simple joy to watch her embody this woman. Kazan said that Loden's acting style was remarkably similar to that of Marlon Brando's. Both would surprise Kazan with their improvisation, which Kazan thought always felt alive because even they wouldn't know what they were going to say until it came out of their mouths. Wanda is full of these surprising moments. Here's Loden improvising a scene in a diner where her character is eating spaghetti and bread with Mr. Dennis, played by Michael Higgins. Loden's goal in this exchange is simply to annoy Mr. Dennis until he must down some pills for a headache.
Oh, did you want that piece of bread? Can I have it? That's the best part I like. Don't you like that part? Sop it out. Huh? Don't like it? I do. What's the matter, you got a headache?
Loden said she didn't want her film about a couple on the lam to be funny, but Wanda's awkward charm often lightens the mood right exactly when the story needs a breather. Loden was also careful about how she portrayed life for poor people in podunk towns. Growing up, she said she always kind of hated movies because of how perfect everyone appeared on the screen, which is one reason why Loden and Higgins are the only trained actors in the film. Everyone else was a non-actor with an interesting face, someone who was a local from nearby. And while Loden found that many wanted to compare her film to Bonnie and Clyde, She made clear that her film would be more honest about the types of people who resort to a life of crime. Loden was deeply sympathetic to those who have very little. She didn't enjoy the romanticized versions of poverty and crime in Hollywood movies. The reception to Wanda was overwhelmingly positive. The film premiered at Cannes, and even if critics like Pauline Kael struggled to fully understand the character of a woman who nonchalantly sleeps around and lets life blow her wherever it will, press still agreed that Loden had a future behind the camera. Loden wrote and directed this film herself, but it did seem that that success made some folks question whether this gem of a movie had more than a little of her husband's hand in it. Here's a clip of Loden on The Mike Douglas Show, where she appeared alongside John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
By the way, Barbara's film has just been chosen by two New York film critics as one of the 10 best pictures of 1971. That's saying a lot.
Oh, that's doing pretty well.
I think that's doing very well.
Oh, my goodness.
Does your husband have anything to do? Does he stick his nose in anywhere in your filmmaking? Or?
Well, I try to get him to help me as much as he can. I mean, we help each other.
Hear how she oh so elegantly sidesteps the question of Kazan's involvement while also raising the possibility that it is she who is secretly assisting in Kazan's work. But I have to wonder, maybe if she had said Kazan was involved, someone would have invested in her next picture. Loden began developing more film projects right after Wanda. She was energized and inspired by the response. Everyone loved this film. She and her cinematographer and editor, Nicholas Perferis, had thought that maybe someone would bite on the projects. If she could make Wanda for $120,000 with a 4-person crew, surely someone would trust her with more this time. But that's not how it worked. Nobody invested in her personal work. The only films that she directed after Wanda were short educational movies shown in schools. One, called The Boy Who Liked Deer, espoused the dangers and vices of vandalism. While the message is cheesy and dramatic, if you look past that, you can still see Loden's trademark style of gritty realism and her inclination as a director to trust her actors to lead the scene.
Hey, don't do that! Cut it out! I said cut it out!
My favorite of her educational shorts is called The Frontier Experience, written by Joan Micklin Silver, director of Hester Street and Between the Lines. Loden directed and starred in The Frontier Experience herself, giving a taut, restrained performance. Probably not appreciated by its audience of bored, angsty teens in history class.
September 20th. Today we saw our new home. It's not quite what George and I expected. Thought occurs to me. Why did the earlier homesteaders move on?
Loden had tried to get another feature film off the ground all the way up until cancer took her away in 1980. When she appeared in that Mike Douglas segment, John Lennon asked her,
Do you have any problems working with the men, like giving them instructions and things like that?
and Loden replied,
I did, but I think it was because I was afraid that they would not accept what I said, and I wasn't quite that authoritative in my own self. I think I could do it better next time.
I only wish she'd gotten a next time. That's my outshot.